Morning.
All right. Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday, September 25th, 2021. A shout out to my little brother, Wes. Happy birthday today. I think he turns 42 today. Happy birthday to him. And good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing good, Mike. Morning. Happy birthday, Wes.
Yeah, happy birthday, Wes. How are you guys doing?
He will never grow up, though. Mike knows that.
Yeah, he's going to one of his son's football games this morning, so he's probably not even watching right now, which is fine.
Nice.
But yeah, he's going to football.
Can I say hey to John in chat? He's in Denham Springs. Can you hear me all right? Let me get this closer.
I can hear you just fine. You and that Yeti.
Yep, good thing I got it. Better than that fine thing. But John, great to see you, man. Denham's not far from me. I'm in St. Tammany, so if you're a deer hunter, very similar in our areas. So actually, I think he might be in Area 4. He might be in my same hunting area. So
really,
very cool, John. Call in.
That's cool. Yeah, call in. Look at that mic that Reaper has. It looks like a raccoon,
it looks like
a dead rat or a possum or something.
Pepe La microphone.
Something. Every time I see that, I'm waiting for it to jump on his face.
You guys are just jealous. I got beautiful hair in front of me.
Kill it.
Did you eat that thing?
Yeah, I ate
probably
it.
Did.
I eat it every Saturday while we're on here.
Yeah, he makes a stew. He eats for like 3 days on all of his deer meat. Oh, by the way, I want to give a shout out to Uncle Lou. Stealth Outdoors sent me my very cool smoke camo.
Oh,
beanie.
Look at that.
And
Uncle Lou
hooked me up. He threw
Uncle Lou
the smoke camo stealth strips that I can put on my new climbing sticks to get ready.
That's awesome.
Because old Reaper here got me out of my comfort zone, so I'm going saddle hunting.
Nice. That's
Saddle's
awesome.
on its way. Already ordered. Also, the guys at Custom Gear.
Yeah, John and Jerry. John and Jerry.
My saddle, my tether. What am I missing, Reaper? What else did I order? Oh, I also ordered the suspenders just to give me a little added comfort, and keep them up when I'm walking in. And then I also ordered from XOP from the Aquista. The Aquista is how you say it, correct?
Yeah, the Aquisto.
The Aquisto. So and I ordered a platform from them from X. Well, actually, I ordered XOP. So people know them from Lone Wolf. So, and I believe they still own the brand as well.
They originally the father owned Lone Wolf Hunting, tree stands, whatever, but they sold that brand out, and the son runs XOP, but they have a new brand called Lone Wolf Custom Gear that they started together. So, but
awesome. Good guys too, and great hunters. I mean, incredible hunters. So,
hey, I'll be honest with both of you. I can't wait to see where this show takes us, because I can tell you this year we're just kind of getting off the ground. But next year, man, my whole hunting season is going to be planned out, and I'm going to go hunting with each one of you guys, plus John and Jerry and Uncle Lou. We're going to have a lot of really great videos that we're going to put out next year, with all the hunting we're going to do this year and all the hunting we do next year and all the fishing that we do. It's this show is going to take off. It's going to be pretty amazing. I'm looking forward to it. And I got two of the best co-hosts that anyone could possibly want on the show. And I just appreciate you guys hanging out with me every Saturday and working hard behind the scenes. talking to people and getting people to come on the show, and you guys prepping and getting ready for your hunting seasons. Mine's right around the corner. I still got a little bit of time, but I got to get Mom healed up first so Dad and I can go out and go scouting. And I'm hoping Wes is gonna join us this year on our deer hunt, and I'm gonna try to video the whole thing. And it's all about Dad this year, taking him out and getting him a chance at a nice buck. And I was talking to Brock yesterday on the phone, and these 3 really nice mule deer bucks right across the street from my mom and dad come walking out of the tall grass right into some cottonwood trees. And Mom was outside with me enjoying the sunshine. And she saw him walking in there, and I'm like, holy crap, Brock, I'm sitting here looking at 3 nice bucks right now. And
that's a sign, Mike. That's a sign.
It is a sign. It is a sign.
I couldn't be any more envious of him. I was like, you're staring at giant muleys, and I'm not. So,
I mean, they were nice, man. One of them was a good 4x4. It was a nice buck. Almost in the yard. I could have.
That's the best.
I could have shot him with a really nice BB gun, a nice high-powered BB gun. That's how close they were.
Or maybe a bow.
Craig.
Or a bow. They were a little too far away for a bow.
I don't know.
Craig is now is as good of a time as any, right?
As any.
All right. Mike, we all know that I've got Craig promised to set a double step sticks. Like order right now, I'm waiting to get them, so I'm shipping that out to him. But Craig and I both have a surprise for you, Mike.
Oh, check that out! Wow,
this is a
look at that thing. Oh yeah,
okay.
Look at that thing.
There it is.
Bear archery rant. This is yours, Mike.
Now you can kill the big deer in the front yard.
now I'm gonna be out at my parents' house shooting all the time. My dad's gonna get sick of me. Be like, get out of here! You just keep coming out here all the time.
Yeah,
look,
Mike.
John's even saying in chat how mule deer hunt is a bucket list for him. Well, John, you're close to me. We might have to go see Mike.
Absolutely,
we have to go up there.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Hey, I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. We got to start probably April, gentlemen. The 3 of us, we got to start in April and start looking at filling out applications and everything for you guys. And what we'll do is we'll put in for some of the monster buck draws here in Idaho. And I think we do that in April, May. And then I think in late June, they draw the names. And I want you guys to put your name in the hat for the big buck draws. And that way, one of us will hopefully draw a tag. And I mean, we can still go deer hunting. Don't get me wrong, but these are big buck draws. So these are the monsters, mule deer that we have here in Idaho. So it's all about preparation and planning, and that's stuff that we just cannot procrastinate on. It has to get done early spring so that your name's in the hat when they draw it out. And then if they draw your name, then we got to go to planning the trip. So I've never put in for the big buck. And then we've got mountain sheep here that we can hunt. We got lions. Cool. Like I was telling Uncle Lou, right here where I live is one of probably the best black bear hunting locations in the state of Idaho. Yes. So I can round up a few of my friends here in town and see if they wouldn't mind taking us out on a bear hunt. We can use their dogs. We can do a bear hunt. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that we can do here in Idaho.
Very cool.
Yeah, I just that's a bear archery rant, and that's awesome. An American-made bow. So So Craig and I,
Fred Bear. Craig. So how will that play into to my shoulders that are wore out, is that going to be something that's going to be pretty easy for me? It's easy for me to pull back. It's always the release. That shock wave is what kills my shoulder when I release the trigger. Is that something that's is going to be all right on my shoulder, you think?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you shouldn't have a shock.
This bow will drop all the way down to like 15 pounds, so you can shoot 60. Whatever you want that's legal, as long as that vibration. Nowadays in newer bows, most of them don't have that vibration anymore. So
yeah, I'll be honest with you. You want to know the last time I shot a bow?
It's probably been a while. Yeah, you're gonna love this new technology.
Probably late middle to late 90s was the last time I shot a bow.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love this one. Trust me.
Yeah.
It was back when we used to make them by hand.
Yeah.
Most that right there is going to be like a Cadillac compared to the 90s bows.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to lie, Reaper. Thank you so much for that. I'm so looking forward to it. You have no idea, man. You may have just give me a new addiction, and I'm going to blame you for it.
Yep. And look, it's mostly Reaper. He just let me piggyback with him on the gift giving. Thank you, Reaper.
Hey, thank you both. I appreciate it.
I'm going to send you a Robin Hood outfit to go along with your
bow. There you go.
Well, Mike, that's part of the deal here. Craig and I are both already fully addicted to it, and I want to share that with other people. I don't want to be the only one that gets to experience that happiness. So, giving a bow to you and letting you with it and learning and stuff, that's what this whole group should be aiming to do. Get more people out in the woods, get them to join in on that fun, because if we don't use our lands, the public lands, they'll get taken away from us. They're already trying to take everything else. So
yeah.
Well, the cool thing is if I can get all learned up come springtime, then you don't understand this gift that you're giving me. It opens my hunting season up 2 months earlier. They're already bow hunting. They've been bow hunting the end of August, it's just a whole nother world. And you guys come out and go bow hunting with me. We get out there before the elk get skittish. We get to get out there in the woods and hunt the elk before they're so skittish that you do have to take those long shots because you can't get too close to them. So it's just going to be in a whole new world that I've never experienced. And you're absolutely right, Brock, when you say, listen, this is what this show's all about. It's about giving. It's about teaching. It's about sharing our experiences with everybody that watches the show. It's about them sharing with us so that we all become better stewards of the land, stewards of our natural resources, which is our animals, and become better hunters and better fishermen, and just kind of be one with nature, and pass that down to the next generation, to the next generation, and to the next generation.
Yeah, there's something that is very primal about being a stone's throw away from any animal, and I feel like that's part of the archery industry that makes it so much fun, is that they're unpressured, untouched. You get in there, you can get right on top of them. And from what I understand, elk season is in September, or bow season opens up in September range, whatever, and that's when their elk are hugely rutting. So you got an opportunity to call them in to a spot that's within 20, 30 yards, and that's just an amazing feeling. And I want you to experience that. Craig wants you to experience that, and Because honestly, if I'm going to come out to Idaho, I want to have that thrill of a lifetime. I don't, a lot of people can do it in other ways, and that's okay because it's legal. But me personally, I prefer to be within a stone's throw of an animal. There's something exciting about that.
Well, I want to add something real quick, gentlemen, because we may have people that watch this show that have no desire to take a life, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You can still get out in the woods with a camera or a video recorder or your phone, and you can still get just as close to these animals. I do in the off season, in the summertime and late summer when I'm scouting. I get just as close to them scouting as I do when I'm hunting. And man, to get some of those beautiful pictures of these animals, you don't have to take a life to enjoy hunting or to enjoy nature. You can get out there, you can take these photos, and let me tell you something. It could actually turn into business if you're really good with the lens. You can get out there and take some close-up pictures of deer and elk and blue jays and squirrels and all that nature has to offer. Flowers. I love taking photos of flowers and the wild berries. This is the outdoor show. So, it's not all about harvesting animals. It's about being in the great outdoors. I can't wait to share with you guys next spring morel hunting, for mushrooms. That's something that's very popular around here. And then we have huckleberries, right? We have huckleberries here. That is a very popular thing to harvest here. Going out and huckleberry hunting, huckleberry pie and ice cream is a big deal around here. And then we have thimbleberries, wild raspberries. There's all kinds of things that you can do in the great outdoors. It doesn't have to be about just hunting. It's just being outside in nature.
Yep. Yeah, I think a lot of people misinterpret and misunderstand who hunters are in general. We love the animals. That's why we get out and do what we do. It's not all about the thrill of the kill for a lot of us. It's just being out there, and a lot of people don't understand that. And another thing they don't understand is we do it in the most humane, ethical way possible. A lot of the animals, we don't own them or put them in a bad situation, so we try to make it quick and fast, and they face things that are a lot more drastic out there in the wild anyway. But that's how I feel about that. What do you got to say, Craig?
Well, hunters were the first conservationists. You got to remember that. The whole reason that the national parks are all set up was due to Teddy Roosevelt. It was an avid hunter, so he set that land aside for us, and thank goodness he did. But really, that's what we do. We care for these animals. It's a year-long process. We're out there. We're leaving mineral. We're leaving food plots. We're, whatever we can do. And just like Reaper said, I've seen down in South Texas, nilgai being chased down by coyotes with their innards hanging out of them. That's not humane, but that happens in the wild every day.
I can tell you the wolf population here in Idaho. I need both of you to come out and help me deplete that a little bit. But if you've ever seen a wolf kill, it's not pretty. And nope. I can tell you a lot of the animals that they take down do suffer quite a bit because they start at the ass and work their way up. They don't necessarily, like a lion, always, cats in general, leopards, lions, they usually always go for the neck, right? Well, dogs don't do that. They go for the asshole and work their way up. So a lot of these animals, yeah, they do suffer quite a while before
the bear,
their demise.
Seen the bear do the same thing. Come, grab them from the back end. That's how they jump on them. So. Yep.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to step out for just a second because after seeing that bow, I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now. It made me start sweating. I want to jump off here for a quick second and get a t-shirt on. So you two go for it.
All right. Well, while Mike is getting
All right.
naked, hey, this is what we wanted to talk about: scent control. And we really need Mike to learn him because I'm sure he's pretty stinky, and we're gonna have to help him out. But
Yeah.
scent control is a big thing for us. So Reaper and I were just talking. We're getting prepped for season. Right now is when we probably spend the most of our money. If you're anything like me, Reaper, this is I save up for this period of time because you have to buy clothing wash, soap. You know, I got my tub, like you have your tub that you keep your scent-free clothing in, spray, your scent-free spray that helps out. Even a little white bed. There's all kind of, when you think you've done enough scent control, do more. That's my motto.
Yeah, so, I feel like, you know, we all say the same thing. We all know that you can never fool a whitetail's nose, regardless of all these precautions we take, but we still take them because it makes our chances a little bit better.
Odds are better.
And you know, I'm a big proponent of playing the wind, and I think that's the only way you can fool a whitetail's nose, play in the wind. But at the same time, I am still going to wash my clothes in non-scented detergent. I'm still going to take the shower with scent away non-scented, you know, shampoo and soap, and take those precautions just in case one gets downwind of me.
That's it.
And there's a lot more preparation that goes into the beginning of the season. Other things
besides
other
that, yeah.
But
and I was gonna say, you know, even the go ahead. I'm sorry.
My season opens up tomorrow, so you know, I've been prepping for that day for, you know, 2 months now. And go ahead, Craig. You can start whatever you want to say. That's all I wanted to say. I was
going to say the deer's nose. They have over 300,000 receptors, like we've mentioned before. So they can pick out individual, you know, like you said, it's hard to fool that nose. But even just a swirl wind, you know, like we talk about working the wind, you never know how that wind's going to lay out. So anything a little extra to help. And you got to remember, you're walking in. So they might come up your path.
Yep.
Whatever, you know.
And,
so, well, you know, you guys talking about prepping. Don't forget, you know, a bow hunter, there's target practice, and a rifle hunter, there's target practice, you know, getting out there and sighting in your gun. And then there's also prepping like Hawkeye in here. I think Hawkeye's in here. Reloading, right? Making sure that 1, you got reloads for target practice, and 2, reloads for actually hunting. Because I know a lot of guys who reload their own ammunition. They use, you know, different grains, I think it is, for the target practice versus actual hunting. So, I mean, there are, like you both said, there are months of prepping before the big day. And then when the night before the big day, I remember when I was a kid and we lived down in the valley, and Dad said, you know, we're going hunting, and we'd have everything packed up the night before and ready to go. And I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at night. I was so excited to get up early in the morning because we'd roll out of the house, you know, at 4 a.m. to get up to our hunting spot. Or if I was really lucky, we'd go the night before and camp. It's just an amazing, amazing feeling that comes over you. And a lot of it is excitement and anxiety. But then when you're out in the woods and you actually see the animals, I don't know about you guys, but there is a total feeling of respect for the animal, you know, watching it in its habitat. You know, even if I'm deer hunting, you know, watching the does, it's just a respect that I have for them, you know. And then when I get to see the buck, it's, you know, it's just a respect thing. And, you know, I know you guys talked about, you know, how hunters are conservationists. It's also we want to know where our food comes from too. That's another big thing that I think people miss about hunters and fishermen is we want to know where our food comes from and how it's processed. And when you go down to the grocery store and just buy a steak off the shelf, I'll be honest with you, that steak, some places, I won't say all, but some places, that steak has traveled a long way to get to you. And they've used red dye to make that meat pop out and look super fresh to you. But some of those steaks, like me here in Idaho, that steak has come all the way from Oklahoma from a slaughterhouse. So it's been on the road for quite a few days before it finally makes it to my grocery store. Now, yes, I do have local butchers here in town, and yes, there are places I can go to get fresh meat, but I don't think a lot of people realize that when they go to Walmart and they grab a steak off the shelf and they think, oh, wow, this is a fresh steak. Some of that stuff been around a while. So that's another thing about being a hunter that I feel is important for people to know, is that we want to know where our meat comes from. We want to know how it was raised. We want to know, how it's processed. And a lot of us process it ourselves. And then some of us might take it to a local processor. But that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. I want to quote somebody right here. This touches on the topic about having respect for the animals. Dan Infalt, one of my biggest influences in the public hunting, what he says all the time, 2 old swamp, only one come out. And we respect these animals. We want to take the most mature animal we can. And so that means we're letting the other deer walk and we're watching them. We the mom and the babies, and we watch them grow. And it's not all about that kill like some people think it is. But we do harvest our own food, but we're very picky about what we take, and a lot of people don't get that. And it's just, there's something primal about archery hunting for me. I feel that I feel like I'm almost recreating what our ancestors did before us.
Yep. Amen, Brock. Here's something else that people may not realize either. I'm kind of glad that we're on this topic, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of unsaid and things that people don't realize. I can tell you, Craig, and I don't know Craig that well, other than I've known him for months now, since we started this whole thing.
Best friends.
Brock, same thing. But we, as hunters, also are very protective of not only our lands, but our animals too. And what I mean by that is typically most hunters in my area are very respectful when it comes to smoking cigarettes and just flipping the butts out in the wild. Campfires, a lot of people are very respectful of that and very cautious of it, because that can cause harm to our animals and to our land. People throwing trash just down on the ground is not a typical trait of a good hunter. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying most good hunters will not do that. What you pack in, you pack out. If the animals need any kind of, maybe it's a hard winter. I know a lot of the ranchers and stuff around here will donate hay bales to feed the animals. It's all of us working together to ensure our resources are going to be there for the next generation. And I think a lot of people that dislike hunting and or fishing paint this picture that we're just these weekend Rambo hunters that put paint face on and camo on, and we go out in the woods and we just shoot everything that moves. And that is not the case. Like I said, I know personally Craig, he feeds his animal. It's like a full-time job for Craig. He is out there watching his land, making sure his land can provide for the animals that are on it. Craig is a true conservationist. He is a true hunter that cares about his animals in his area. And I know Brock is the same way. He really truly cares about what he's out there hunting. And I love getting out in the woods. And, we hunt on a lot of public land here, and then there is some private land that we hunt on. But here in Idaho, I don't have the opportunity that you guys have to put out certain feeds and stuff for these animals. And if I put out salt blocks here in Idaho, we get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
So it's something that we cannot do here.
Yeah.
Because then they basically they claim that we're trying to draw the animals in. So we have an advantage over them when it comes to hunting. So each area can do different things, and that's one thing that we can't do here in Idaho. Otherwise, yeah, I would love to help feed the animals and do certain things.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on something too. A lot of people, the reason why our peers in the world right now feel the way they feel and say what they say about animals and us harvesting the animals is because they bring these animals to you and they put a name on them and they put a face on them, like Bambi, like Winnie the Pooh, like the tiger guy on the cereal box, and these animals aren't like that in real life, but people think that way, and that's the wrong way of thinking, because you're not really understanding what these animals are capable of. And another thing I want to touch on is if we see an injured animal, I will spend money on an injured animal. I'm not going to let it walk around hurting.
Amen. I've ran into the same thing, Reaper. My brother and I several hunting seasons. Listen, there are people out there that give us all a bad name, and I've seen it personally, myself and my brother, where you get a group of hunters out there, they see horns, they shoot something, they walk over there, it's not the big buck they thought it was, and they turn around and they walk away. So yes, I have spent my own tagging an animal I did not shoot because I didn't want it to go to waste. And yes, there are people out there that flip cigarettes out in the woods, and they throw trash down, and they take animals out of season, or they injure animals and walk away. Yes, those people are out there. But that's why it's up to gentlemen like us and ladies that are watching the show right now. It's up to us to help manage that and police that. And I'm not looking to be a police officer by any means, but when you see something, you say something, right? You make sure that if there's assholes out there doing stuff like that people are aware of that. And that's not the type of hunters that we want in the woods with us. At least I don't. I don't want those type of people with me because they give us a bad name. And there are very few of them out there. It's not like there's a ton of them out there. They're very few and far in between. But once in a while, you'll come across somebody like that. And hopefully, if you do come across somebody like that, people that like us watching the show have an opportunity to maybe talk to them and try to encourage them to do the right thing, even when nobody's looking, because integrity has a lot to do with hunting, right? Integrity is the same in hunting as it is on the job, which is, I always tell my guys that work for me, integrity means you're always doing the right thing, even when the boss isn't looking. Well, that's the same thing with hunting. You need to have some integrity out there and do the right thing, even when nobody's looking.
That's correct. I leave warning signs out for mine, Mike. So that's one of the warning signs I use. I don't know if you can read that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it lets them know, that the corn that I put out is only for the squirrels and chipmunks and other such animals. All deer will be shot over that corn.
And see, in Tennessee, we're not allowed to bait neither. We are allowed to put salt blocks out, but that's because it's a mineral to help the animals. But I'm telling you, if you hunt a salt block one time, the deer aren't going to come back to it because they know you've been there.
Yeah,
they'll come back at it, typically. And another thing is, like Mike said, I spend a lot of time on public land, and you got to make sure you're doing that thing when nobody's paying attention or looking at you. And that's kind of what hunting's all about for me, is doing the right thing no matter who's watching me. And another thing I want, my arrows, my setup, I shoot a bow. My arrows take a long time to build. They take money. I'm not going to waste all this money to go out here and be like, Joe pulls the trigger at the passenger window. That's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it for the long haul, for the weight, That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't waste my money on things for no reason.
Well, while we're on the subject, go ahead, Craig. While we're on the subject,
we were talking the mineral, and usually they're going to that mineral after they drop horns. So that's mostly after season and during the summertime anyway. So that's why I love it when I see guys buy mineral blocks before season. I'm like, well, you should have put that out in March. Right now is not the time for it.
Yeah.
Little things like that, knowing the right time. And then here's another one. Don't go out right now bow hunting with doe and estrus on. That's the worst thing you could do, because you're smelling like something that shouldn't be happening right then in the woods. What I'll do is save tarsals off of deer. So I'll have a bow season tarsal of a doe, and I'll bring that as my little cover scent with me. And the tarsals are on the leg of the deer. If anybody doesn't know, that's the gland. They rub together. They pee on it. They get their scent on it. So I'll take those and keep those just for that reason.
Wow. How do you store that, Craig?
In the freezer. I'll put it in a little a freezer bag, like you'll seal your meats in, and then mark it with a pen and put it in the fridge.
Nice. Well, here's some other stuff that we need to talk about while we're on the subject. Now, I'm not condoning, just so I'm clear, I'm not condoning being a narc of the woods and calling Fish and Game every time one little thing happens in the woods that you don't like or I don't like. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, as hunters, we should be the initial contacts to people who lack integrity or whatever it is. And again, we got to be cautious nowadays, because if you approach somebody in the woods or at their camp and they get all cocky and all weirded out on you, I understand that. Okay. I get that. It's good common sense to just be cautious. I'm just saying, if you have an opportunity to teach, you should take that opportunity to teach, right? Now, if you get somebody who's just belligerently stupid out there, being a raging asshole, then I would probably take it to another level. Not meaning being kinetic with anyone. I'm just saying, well, if they're not willing to listen or learn or take advice, and they're doing something that can cause major harm, or worse, then you take it to the next step, right?
But mostly I don't see it. I don't see.
No, I don't see it either. Yeah. I don't see it either. I just thought that we should talk about it. And the other thing, when it comes to being in the woods, especially on public land, so that we get people out there on public land that drive their trucks off trails or their four-wheelers off trails, and they beat a trail down in a place that they're not supposed to. And that really affects the rest of us, because then the signs go up that you're not allowed to use four-wheelers, you're not allowed to use this or that, because somebody has used their equipment the wrong way. And it happens here in Idaho quite a bit, where they hop on their four-wheeler, they don't want to walk, they don't want to hike, and so they ride their four-wheeler all over the mountains, everywhere they can, so that they can just sit on their four-wheeler and think they're going to get a good shot on a nice animal. And what it does is it causes ruts, it causes trails to be matted down, and then it's public land, and then the powers that be that I don't care for come in and start restricting us from our lands. So again, it's integrity, it's respect, it's common sense. If your health is so bad that you can't get off your four-wheeler and go walk the mountaintops hunting, then maybe that's something you just shouldn't be doing any longer, because riding your four-wheeler all over the place is not the right thing either. And it affects the hunters around you that are out there hiking and walking through the woods. And then next thing you know, here goes a four-wheeler blazing past you, 100 mile an hour, and every animal in the area has heard it and gone. So, we don't really talk about this type of thing. I think it kind of gets forgotten. And this is something that we should be passing down to our children and our grandchildren, the do's and the don'ts in the woods when you're hunting or camping or hiking or fishing or whatever.
Yep. Camo Carl brought up in chat about the going by a campfire. That's like the old school scent-free method. I believe the Indians used it. But you're right, Carl. That campfire smoke kills the bacteria. So after a long day of hunting, if you hang out by that campfire with your clothes, great idea. Make sure they get all that smoke, and the deer will come investigate because they love fight. They're curious. They'll come see.
I want to something related to what you're talking about, Mike. Believe it or not, 2 years ago, I almost got in a fist fight with. This is no joke. I mean, it's it's nothing I'm proud of. But my father and I were going turkey hunting on public land, which means anybody and everybody's allowed to use it as long as they have tags. Well, I pulled into my spot that morning, spent the night before roosting these turkeys, which is a lot of work. I mean, knows that, and you know that, Mike. And the next morning, me and my father went in there to set up on them. Well, I put my dad almost underneath this bird. But as we were getting ready to go in, I saw this truck go by. Well, he only went probably 30 yards past us and parked. Well, he heard that bird gobbling because I had it going. And my father was set up on it. I was trying to call it into him. And the man shot the bird before it ever left the tree, which is illegal. And, yeah. And I snapped because I put in so much work trying to find this one bird. And I put my dad underneath it, and this guy does something like that. There's also, I guess what I'm getting at, even though it's public land, there is common courtesy. If I'm there before you, if I take the time to get up 2 hours before daylight to get there before anybody else, that right there should be your sign to go to the next pull off. Don't bother with my area because I've got it covered. And I don't think enough people talk about that, because that's a problem too.
No, very, very valid point. And I'm glad we're on the subject, because it happens here in Idaho too. Listen, it's public land, but there is a code. There is an ethics that you should follow. Absolutely. And I can tell you from experience, I've been hunting this area since I was a teenager here in this small town. There's areas that I've been hunting for decades, and all of a sudden somebody comes pulling in, like you said, and they get out of the truck and there's 20 of them, and they go swamp them through the woods right where I've been hunting for decades. And I was there before the sun came up, and they come rolling up, last minute as the sun's coming up. There is a code, but where we fail is we fail for not teaching our children this type of thing. We should be teaching our children the ethics of the woods and hunting and fishing. It's no different than being on a bank fishing, and you're in a good spot, and somebody comes rolling up with a husband, wife, and 4 kids, and they crowd in on you right there where you're fishing, and then their lines are getting tangled up with yours. There's a courtesy out there, and it's our responsibility to teach the next generation those courtesies and those common sense things that we pass down from generation to generation. And yeah, it can lead to fist fights. I've seen fist fights right on the side of the river when it comes to steelhead fishing north of me here.
I was going to say fishing holes. Fighting over a fishing hole.
Fighting over fishing holes. I've seen people fighting in the woods over hunting areas. Public lands means public, but there is a but there. There should be some common courtesy there as well, and you should. We just need to teach our children that hey, if we see somebody already there in that area hunting, then we need to move on. Either get up earlier than them and beat them there the next day, or go find you a different area to hunt. Period.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. If you beat me to that spot that morning, you can have it. I didn't put the work in myself to get up that early to beat you there, but you better believe the next day I will be there before you. Have to get up at 1 a.m. I'm gonna be there before you. And if I put up that much work into something, you should be. It's just being in a grocery store and somebody saying, "Excuse me," you get out of the way, for them. And there's been several times people have beat me to a spot, and I told them, "Good luck. I'm going down the road." That's just of it, and that needs to be taught, I think.
You know what we do? We hunt the hunter, and I don't mean hunt the hunter like hunt them. I mean know where these hunters are and use that for your advantage, because they're going in, they're making certain moves that may spook deer your way. So knowing where other hunters is probably even more important than knowing where the animal is. I agree.
Well,
one other thing that you can do, at least I do anyway, personally, me by myself, is if I get in an area that I've always had to myself for a long time, and then all of a sudden somebody takes somebody hunting as a favor, and then the next year that person comes back with 6 other people, and then the next year they come back with 12 more people. That's the thing that really drives us locals around here crazy. And a lot of locals around here won't take anybody hunting that's not in the family or the circle because of that reason. But what I try to do at times is I'll try to use those hunters to my advantage. So if they're on a ridgetop somewhere and I'm watching them with my field glasses, then I try to use them to my advantage and allow them the opportunity to push animals to me. So even though you get in an area that's over hunted, you can use certain things to your advantage that they don't even realize they're doing for you. And I can tell you by personal experience, I've had a lot of hunters push animals to me, and it's just how you operate in the woods for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. If I can find out, for instance, like Craig said, if you got there the morning before me, like this all ties in with everything, but you got there the morning before me and I let you get there the second day, well, then I know what area you're going to hunt. So I'm going to find out where you're pushing those deer, and I'm going to set her, because I know that if you wear that spot out, 2 days worth of hunting, as far as deer hunting, is enough scent to drive the deer somewhere else. So I'm going there.
Just simple bumping. Yeah, because we bump them all the time. And bumping.
And this is something else that doesn't get talked about enough either, is hunting safety. You better make damn sure you know what you're shooting at before you pull that trigger. Because I know that there are idiots out there that hear noises in the brush and they pull the trigger. We've had horses and cattle up here being shot. One, because the horse is a buckskin color, and I've actually had a friend that had his horse shot out from under him as he's hunting, and he's on horseback, and some idiot shoots the horse. Man, that can run it. You can run into all kinds of problems with that. One, they had to pay for the horse. Two, they could have shot the guy on the horse, which could have been manslaughter charges. The horse was pregnant, so they had to not only pay for the horse, but for the foal that she lost as well. Wow. We've had people have to pay for the cattle that were shot. There is jail time for some of that stuff as well. And we have had idiots that have come, I won't say from what state, but they've came up here from another state. They didn't know their animals. They heard a cow bellowing and they thought that was a bull elk bugle, so they shot the cow. So lots of things that need to be taught to our children. And some of these people that are adults and have never had hunter safety course, they've never been hunting with their uncle or their dad or their grandpa. They're at a certain age and they think, oh man, that sounds like fun. So they go buy some camo clothes and they buy a rifle and they go hunting, and they've never been taught the right way to hunt. Are those type of people that come out there and shoot the wrong thing, or they shoot it at other hunters because they're in the brush. I know a lot of people like wearing the hunter orange for safety. I don't, because I'm on a different level of hunting, and I don't want to be seen from anybody, including animals. So it's just things that we really need to pass on to our children and our grandchildren, and really pay attention and be good stewards of the land and good stewards of the animals and stewards of other hunters, and try to, like I said, if there's a teaching moment, take that opportunity to step up and try to help our fellow hunter or fishermen out there and teach them something that they may not know.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I had a buddy that got shot probably 4 years ago, turkey season, because there was a new hunter out there and they had no idea what they were doing, and he was set up in a tree, and I guess they saw his decoy, and he didn't move it. He didn't get it off him. It was right on him, and they shot him right in the back. Luckily he didn't get hurt really, but had to pick some BBs out.
Yeah, I had a buddy. When he was a kid, he was shot in a tree stand with a 30-06 as a kid.
Wow.
And then we've also had several cases. Just happened 2 years ago. Guy shot his best friend out here
That
in
happens
Honey
a
Hollow
lot.
Swamp pushing pigs.
That happens a lot. People shoot either their best friend or their dad or their kid or their whatever,
Yeah, the buddy was crawling through the thicket pushing the pigs out, and the guy heard rustling and didn't have eyes on target and shot his best friend.
Go ahead, Craig. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. I was done. No, I'm good.
I know up north in Pennsylvania, where I was born, it's a big thing to push animals. But me, myself, I won't hunt like that. Even though some of the people that I idolize hunt like that, I won't do it because that's just too dangerous. I don't, even if you're wearing orange and you're out in the open field, I don't feel like shooting a gun in your direction doing you any favors. I mean,
that's it.
It's just not. It's not something I want to do. Last year I was in a tree and actually heard bullets zinging through the trees next to me.
Yeah,
I couldn't hear the.
Yeah, I've had bullets zing past me.
I never heard the gunshot, but that's how far he was away. But I could hear the bullets. You always want to make sure you have a backstop if you're shooting at something. Here in the mountains, there's no excuse for not having a backstop.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I've had bullets whiz past me several times in my hunting career. And Mayhem Studios has got a very valid point in the chat, a comment. It says, I have 80 acres. There is no one allowed to hunt on my land without permission. Again, being a good steward of the land, a good steward of other hunters and fishermen, and steward of the animals. And when you have somebody who has private land like that, my dad has spent his entire life building relationships with private landowners, getting permission to hunt their land. But it's so critical that you are a good steward of that, because they don't have to let you hunt on their private land. So if you go in there and you tear up their land with ruts in the mud and just be foolish and leave trash and or become a danger to their property because you have these big giant bonfires and you're getting drunk and shooting guns off and just being super dangerous, that landowner is going to lock that property up like Fort Knox. And not only have you screwed yourself from hunting that property ever again, but you screwed everyone else that ever wants to hunt that property, because you're so foolish that the next person like me comes along to talk to Mayhem Studios and says, hey, I know that you got this private property here. Is there any way that you would allow me permission to hunt that? And they say, oh, no, I'm good. And I've ran into this problem personally because somebody has gone in there and destroyed their land or just been jackasses about it. And that's it. See, landowners take that as a liability, and they can be liable for certain things. And so they're very, very cautious on who they allow to hunt on their property. And I mean, Craig probably knows it better than any of us because he leases land right now. So it's very critical for us to teach these generations the right way to hunt and fish, and to really pay attention to those types of things. And especially with private landowners, man, you need to just be of the utmost respect to them and their property and their houses and outbuildings and stuff. You don't want to go shooting toward their houses or any of that stuff. I mean, there's so many things that you need to learn hunting on private property, and same with the public land. I mean, it's all the same. So anyway, Craig, your opinion on private land and hunting private land.
Yeah, well, and just like you said, I lease from a friend of mine, and he requires us to get insurance. So I make sure I have $2 million coverage covers four-wheeler, covers tree stand, covers accidental shooting, all points covered. And that protects the landowner and keeps us in a good relation. But like you said, also like the storm happened. So he called me, hey, what is the tree damage looking like? So we talked together because we're working the land for him. So, and he loves it. We love it. It's a great relationship, but you always got to keep it a good relationship.
Exactly. So, and Mayhem Studios made another good comment, said, I caught a couple of people on my land. Usually it's an accident, but usually they are very respectful. So listen, it is the responsibility of the private landowner to properly post your land that this is private, no hunting. Things do happen, right? There are accidents made. People do cross property boundaries on accident. Me personally, I have done that. But if you do, and you are approached by a private landowner, you need to give them the utmost respect, apologize for being in the wrong area, assure them that it won't happen again, and just pay attention and make sure that you're not on private property and that you haven't crossed somebody's property line. But if you have, own it, own the mistake and make sure that you show them respect. And you never know, that mistake might lead to a relationship that you never anticipated. So, it's a big deal. It's a very big deal that we are good stewards out there.
Yeah, like what Brock was just showing, they got apps now. So you can get the Onyx app. It'll tell you exactly where that line is. Because really, when you're tracking the animal, that's when you really encounter it. You want to be respectful. Let the person know, I shot a deer. It went onto your land. Can I please go in there? And that's one courtesy we really try to stick to. For sure.
Yes. And that's another great point, Craig, is sometimes you're hunting in the right area and you wound an animal, it hops a fence, it goes over on private property. You shouldn't just assume that you can cross that property line and track your animal. I mean, if you're close to somebody's house, you should probably go approach them first and let them know the situation, inform them with respect, and then give them the opportunity to say, yeah, go ahead and go, go harvest your animal. I think most people in general would give you that permission as long as you approach them with respect. But it happens. It's happened to me a few times.
Yeah.
I know Onyx, there's Hunt. This one I use is called Hunt. There's multiple apps now that you can actually download the map of it so that you can use it when you're harvest. And it has the property lines. Now here in Tennessee, if we shoot an animal and it crosses a boundary line, we don't have to ask for permission to go get that animal.
No kidding. Okay.
I still do have a common courtesy of going and asking before I tell them that I'm allowed to do it, whether they say or no, But yeah, Tennessee's like that because we used to have problems with elderly people that don't want nobody on their land and they don't care. No reason, is good enough.
Shoot you with rock salt.
Well, that's why they changed the law here in Tennessee, because there was a lot of animals getting wounded and not getting harvested because of that reason.
A lot of waste.
And I just really think people should get these apps. They're good for more than just property lines. And as far as garbage goes, I pick up every little bit of garbage I find when I'm out in the woods. On public land, private land, doesn't matter. But I will tell you guys, the thing I find the most when I'm 3 miles in deep somewhere are the balloons that people let go of.
Yes. Oh man, I find them all the time, Brock. They scare me at nighttime because I think I'm like, is that an alien spacecraft? No, it's a purple. It's a purple balloon that is stuck in trees. It's the freakiest thing ever you've ever seen, and you wouldn't believe how many I find every year.
I have never found one I have never found a balloon.
I get them every year.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, and they scare you too because they're those shiny happy birthday ones with all these crazy colors. You're like, what?
Wow, I couldn't even imagine running into one of those things in the dark, not being able to see what the heck it is. You would think it's an alien or something weird, man. Wow, that's amazing. Well, are you guys ready to take some live calls?
Oh, for sure.
Most definitely.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for everybody. I know my dad was asking for it a minute ago. So there's the link, guys. If you guys want to join us. I don't see any email pictures, so nobody sent anything into the show.
Morning, Zach. Good to see you. Zachary's out there.
Good morning.
Our Zach?
The Patriot Brothers. He's here, man.
From Prepping 101?
Yep.
Hey, Zach. How's it going, Zach?
Good to
Hope
see
you're
you,
having
brother.
a great Saturday morning, man. I haven't seen Zach in a while. I haven't watched Prepping 101 for a while. I
saw Zach last night. He was on
everything
Danger.
off.
Yeah.
I typically talk to Zach every day. He sends me a text when he wakes up. him and I are really good friends, though.
Yep.
He's like a brother to me. While we're waiting on callers, like Mike was saying earlier, there are multiple ways to put in effort for hunting, and that's why we try to take care of the land when we're out there. That's why we do what we do, because we spend a lot of money on this stuff, and we want to be as ethical, as humane. We take care of the woods, because if we don't take care of them and we don't use them, we'll get taken away from us, and it'll be another city on top of another city on top of another city, and I don't want that. And I know Mike and Nick don't either.
Yep. Well, we got our first caller. We got a Hawkeye in the waiting room. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. Hello, brother Hawkeye. How are you this morning in Iowa?
Look, he's right.
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. October 1st is opening day of bow season, so I'm ready to go.
That's
He's
awesome.
ready. Is that your reloader behind you? That's your reloader set up?
I reload all the time, man. I just got done priming a bunch of 223s. That's just for
Very
bluefins. But
How you been?
well. I used to shoot USPSA, so I shoot 9s all the time. So I've got 2,000 or 3,000 9s sitting downstairs, and yeah, I reload a lot.
Nice. How is it finding primers right now? Are you having trouble with that, or did you have a good stock already built up?
Let me show you.
Good deal.
I've not.
I mean, I heard they
You're about to get your answer, Craig.
I'm seeing it.
Craig, have you ever used Mid-South?
Okay, so guys that really reload thought about this stuff. I mean, this happened back with Obama.
Yes.
So
with
no,
the
I got thousands. I got thousands of primers.
Good deal. Yeah. No, but you're correct about it. It happened with Obama. It was a 22 deal.
All right. Can you see up here? No. Here. I got more primers than I need.
Perfect. That's good. Yep. That's the one thing. You can have everything, but you need that primer.
You know, this isn't the first time this happened, guys. You know, this happened 10 years ago. And when I went to gun shows and stuff, I just buy as many. You know, back then you could get them for $25 1,000. You know.
Yeah.
I bought them as low as $10 1,000.
Wow.
So.
Can I ask you a question there, Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Okay, so for people who are watching the show and may not know, are primers universal? Can you use the same primer for any caliber of bullet, or are they all different?
No, there's small pistol and large pistol. Small pistol would be a 9, 44s. Some 45s have small pistol primers.
Okay.
Most 45s have large pistol primers. Okay. And then you get into rifles. Yeah. A 223 has a small pistol primer.
Okay.
A 308 30-06 has a large pistol or large rifle primer.
Okay.
Both of those are rifle primers. And then then you have like 357 Magnums that have that use a Magnum primer.
Okay.
So
and I'm trying to help people watching right now learn from you. So the primers, can you explain what the primer does for people who may not know?
Okay, so basically you have a specific weight. Now you were talking about that earlier. Great. But you have a certain weight that is measured in grains, and you use a powder. Okay, so this powder, 745, will go in my rifle, and it'll fill it up about maybe halfway.
Okay.
The primer ignites the powder.
Yep.
There's a hole inside of the case that pushes all that flame when you ignite the primer with your firing pin. That ignites this, and it produces pressure. That pressure pushes the bullet out through the barrel, and it can the modern powders burn slower, so you're actually producing a lot more pressure by the time it gets to the end of the barrel.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And that's so that primer, when you hit that primer with your firing pin, it causes a spark that ignites the gunpowder.
It actually produces a flame.
A flame. Okay.
There's a small amount of small amount of chemical that actually produces a flame that goes through that flash hole.
Okay.
In your case, and that's what ignites the powder.
Do you have any cases? Do you have any cases that are cut in half by chance?
I do not.
Okay, it'd be cool on the show one of these days to have one of those cases cut in half that we could actually show people. Maybe I could just pull one up on the internet. Actually, let me.
I mean, yeah. There's a lot of them on the internet. You know.
Huck, would you?
So cool.
explain to people there's differences between each thing you reload. I reload 44, 45, and my 12 gauge stuff. Explain the difference and all that.
Well, you know, your shotgun shells have a wad, and they have packing material around whatever shot you put in it. So, you know, like in Iowa, if you're shooting foul, you have to use, well, if you're shooting waterfowl, you have to use steel shot. If you want to shoot game birds like pheasant, you can still use lead shot. But it's basically the same principle. You have a primer that's igniting powder, that's pushing that wad and all of your BBs through, and once it gets to the end, that's where your pattern becomes apparent. So you have a modified choke, you have an improved cylinder, and that basically tells you how big your pattern's going to be. A full choke, like when I go out pheasant hunting, I have a Winchester 101.
Yeah,
I like that because it's got chrome barrels and it's a double barrel over under. But I've got a modified cylinder, and then I've got a full choke. And what that does is if the bird gets up close to me, I'll make sure that I've got that modified on, because it's gonna give a wider pattern really quick. But if that bird gets far away from me, I want to shoot that full choke first, because it's going to keep the pattern closer, and it's going to produce more knockdown power for that bird. But like when you get into waterfowl, I mean, I don't know how many times I've gone out pheasant hunting, and where I hunt, there's a lot of marshland. I'll be deer hunting with a shotgun, and all of a sudden I'll get 500 wood ducks get up next to me.
yes,
You know,
I have. Yes,
I mean, how many times that, you know, you're out hunting pheasant, and then all of a sudden the biggest buck you've ever seen, you
Comes
wake
out.
him up in the middle of a field,
yeah.
you know, and he just takes off.
That sounds
So-
like my luck. I've
Yeah.
had that happen. Same thing. I had my deer rifle and had 20 wood ducks land in front of me. Couldn't do the thing about
But you
it.
know, in reloading, I shoot a lot of USPSA, so I buy the cheapest projectiles I can, and this is a poly-coated lead. It's very, very cheap. But then, you know, you have full metal jackets. That's 223. I shoot a lot. I'm getting old. I'm like 64 years old. I don't like cleaning my guns. All of my competition guns, I just don't like cleaning the lead out of them anymore.
Yeah.
So I've
That's
been shooting a lot of like extreme bullets. They have a coating on them, a full metal jacket.
Yep. Staying away from that cheaper steel that's coming out. There's jackets, and stick with brass. That's what I do. I love sticking with brass.
Yeah, you gotta stick with, if you're gonna reload, you have to use brass. You can't reload the steel.
Oh, that's a good point. See, I wasn't even thinking about that.
So
That's great.
just for everybody watching real quick, here's a side view of what Hawkeye is talking about. So right here is your primer, and there's the little so when that primer causes the flame, there's the little channel that the flame shoots through that ignites. Here's your gunpowder right here. And
That's
it
called a
ignites
flash hole.
a flash hole. So there's a flash hole right there. If you can see the arrow, so there's a flash hole. So that's what it looks like after it's completed with the reload. If you were to cut it in half and take a look at it, that's what it'd look like.
That's
that's-
what one looks like.
I feel
You know, I usually load about 1,000 at a time. So that's what one looks like. You know, you can see that flash hole all the way through it.
Yeah, I feel like a muzzle loader is.
Oh, there you
probably
can.
the-
Okay, I can see it. Yep, I can see it there, Hawkeye. I can see the light through it. That's pretty cool.
But you know, these are my and reloading, like the steps to reload a rifle cartridge. I mean, I keep everything in like 2-gallon buckets. When I've got 5-gallon buckets of just spent brass, and then I clean that, and then I start processing it. Well, after this is shot out of a gun, I have to resize it so that it matches the SAMI specs for the rifle, and then I have to clean the primer pocket, and then in this particular case is a 5.56-223. Then I've got to chamfer the primer pocket, because a lot of times out on the range you're going to get military ammo, military cases. So you have to cut those out because they have a pocket that they crimp, and then I've got to resize this. So I basically, I go through every one of these and measure them, and then I've got a special sizing gauge that I can just run through and I size everything. But sometimes you get them that are too small and I just throw them out. Somebody has reloaded that at some point and hasn't done a good job of it.
Gotcha. Here's a question for you, Hawkeye. Hold on just a second there, Brock. Here's a question for you real quick. And this is from Mayhem Studios. What's the best inexpensive reloading equipment for somebody just getting started?
If I was just getting, it depends on what you want to load. If you're going to load rifle or pistol, but the best equipment that you can buy, you don't want to buy cheap equipment, because this can kill you if you make it wrong. If I put double the powder in this, that'll blow my gun up. If I put too little powder in it, and I've got a great story about that. I've had one, it's called a squib load. Sometimes you don't get any powder in it. You just totally space it off when you're making them.
Yeah.
So a squib load has the pressure of just the primer. So when you fire this in a gun, if it has no powder, that primer still has enough pressure to push that projectile into the barrel, and it just sticks there.
Oh wow.
Well, if you've been shooting enough, you know what that sounds like. But if you haven't been shooting enough, I gave my son a 45. We were out shooting at the range. We were shooting all my hand loads. Thank God he was right next to me, and he was shooting slow. But I heard a squib, and I just immediately stop. And he stopped, and sure enough, that 45 was right in the middle of the barrel on my 1911. Had he shot a second time, that could have exploded the barrel. You're not going to be able to push that second. So my advice for people that want, I love reloading. I reload all the time. I'm very accurate, very careful, but just keep in mind, these could kill you if you make them wrong. So you have to be real detail oriented. When I've got, I don't know. Yeah, you can't see it here. Every one of the calibers that I reload, I have separate powder cops, separate everything. They're already set up, so I can just put those on my press. I'm going to be reloading some 9s later on, probably midweek, and I will go through and I will measure. Now, a grain is a very, very small unit of measure, and we're measuring powder in the grains, and we're measuring in the tenths of grains. So like my pistol might be, for a particular powder, it might be 5.4 grains. I'll start through, and when I'm doing a run, I will I will verify that I'm getting 5.4 grains on about 10 rounds before I even start producing a finished cartridge. Because it's just that important. If I've got, number one, I want something that's going to shoot real accurate. So if it's 5.5, if it's 5.3, I can live with that. But if it's 10, that's going to blow up my gun. And I could put 10 grains in that very easily. And that's twice the amount. Now some guys that shoot competition, and I know tons of them, it's called plus P. And plus P is just additional powder.
Yep.
So they're basically
here in Idaho, we call it shooting hot. They'll load it hot. They'll load it hot. They'll put
here too. It's you got hot loads.
Yep.
If you see a guy that's shooting like a 1911 with a hot load, like my 9s will just barely knock over a 12-inch plate, half-inch plate when I'm shooting competition. Those 9s just about knock that friggin' plate off the wall. Those hot loads.
Yep.
So, but there again, you have to know what your pistol can take. Some of these newer pistols cannot take a plus P round. So all I got to say, I love to reload. I've got 5 gallon. I've probably got 100,000 9 cases. I mean, I've got 5-gallon pails that are just full of it. When I go to the range, the end of the day, I'm picking up brass. That's all I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not to cross over to the prepping side of it, but if you don't have brass, you got nothing. Yep. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. I love to reload. I love the accuracy of my loads. My 223s, I mean, I can at 100 yards, I can shoot inside of a dime all day on some of my rifles. But here in Iowa, I can't, I bow hunt exclusively now because I've just been in too many situations where in Iowa, you're not allowed to use a rifle unless it's black powder season. And then you can only use like a Henry 45-70. You cannot use 30-06, 30-30. You can't use any of the high powered rifles at all. And that's just a regulation. And it only makes sense because I don't want a guy that doesn't know what he's doing taking a rifle that can kill me at a mile, shooting over a hill.
Yeah.
Whereas my slugs, when I used to hunt deer with a shotgun, I've got an 1100 Remington with a Hastings barrel. It's got a rifle barrel on it. And that thing, I would shoot to 100 yards and I was accurate to 100 yards. And that's all that mattered to me. But after 100 yards, that the killing power drops off quickly, and also the range. I couldn't shoot that gun and, I couldn't shoot 200 yards to save my life. So, I talked, I've got tons of friends that live in Missouri, live in Colorado, they're hunting elk with high powered rifles. And I think that's cool. I think that's cool as shit. I really do. But for me, I don't even hunt does anymore. I'm old enough where I go out, I want that old man. And if that old man doesn't show up, then I had a season where I just had a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yep. But I'll tell you, I went out and checked my tree stands the other day and oh my God, I've got an area that's probably 12 foot in diameter where I've got a buck that's just been scraping the ground. There's no grass left. There's no nothing. You can smell it when you walk up on it. I mean, he is ready to go.
Really?
And
Yeah.
you know, rut starts here in November. I'm checking my tree stands, but I typically won't hunt till the leaves drop. And that's just me. I'm just getting old. You know, you guys were talking earlier about, you know, Reaper was saying that the most important thing is the wind, and it most certainly is. But also, when you walk out to your tree stand, don't walk out there like you're just hiking with your girlfriend in the woods. You have to be quiet. You have to be stealth that whole friggin' way. You know, I used to love going out there, a little bit of water on the leaves, you know, a little bit of dew on the leaves, and just walking out there and see how far I can get before I even make a sound. You know? Yeah.
Reaper, you had
Yeah,
something that you wanted to say.
I mean, that silent stuff is very, very, very important. That's why we had Lou from Stealth Outdoors on last week, because he sells a lot of silencing products with stealth strips and the tree bark silencer stuff. But what I wanted to say earlier was, I feel like, you know, with Hawkeye, with reloading, I know we use micrometers, I know we use grain scales, but wouldn't you feel like the easiest way to explain it to somebody, I know I do, is to let them see somebody or themselves reload a muzzleloader? Because for the people that don't do it every day, don't know what grain are, they don't know what primer is, I feel like a muzzleloader breaks it down for them a little bit better, because you have
I didn't answer that question. I apologize.
Steps, but you don't have the brass cartridge.
The best equipment you can buy right now for reloading to begin with is an RCBS rock chucker.
Oh, you're fine.
In my opinion.
You're fine.
You know, I use an RCBS rock chucker, and I'll tell you, to this day, I still use an RCBS for priming all my rifles. You know, because a progressive press just doesn't like priming rifles that well. As far as the black powder goes, I think thinking about what you said, I think that's correct. I think that would be a good way for somebody to understand the measurements involved, and just the process of, because you still have a primer, it just is put on the outside, and your black powder rifle has a flash hole. It's just on the outside of the gun, so yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I don't know what my liability is if I show people how to reload. I don't have a problem. Maybe we make a video about reloading and what I go through to reload nines and stuff. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it down to a science. So I know what will kill me, and I know what I can shoot, and I make sure that whatever I'm loading, that it's not going to kill me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing I do. I just want to make sure it's not going to kill me.
Well, and you bring up an interesting thing with the 9mm. That was probably the one round they were doing the most reloading on when the ammo shortage hit, because that's such a commonly used round, easy to do. So
I think Craig, I think they still are.
Yeah, they still are. They're cranking them out. Yeah.
I mean, every here, that's my carry.
Nice.
Everything.
Is that a shield? Is that a shield?
No, this is a real old one. This is a bodyguard.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
You can see-
I got a shield right here. Let me see if I can grab it.
I do own a couple shields. I just bought the new Shield Plus with the
Yeah, I
Bennett
like the
grip.
plus.
Yep.
don't
Now
know if you can
I
see
bought
that.
the Plus Performance Center, and it has the red dot sight on it. It's got the vented barrel. But I have, I probably have 15 pistols.
Oh, you
Probably-
sound like me.
Yeah, I mean, I got 5 ARs. Got
I even got in
a bunch
I'm
of
sorry,
shotguns.
I even got into the CZs, like the Scorpions, because of the 9mm. I love my little CZ. I got the mini. I got the mini.
I'm
and the
gonna
full
grab
size.
something here.
Well, while we're showing what we have, here's
Can tell.
yeah. So this is my Smith and Wesson 45. So
Nice.
it's a shield. I got it for my
Yeah, good.
birthday a couple years ago. It's very thin. It only carries 6 rounds plus one in the chamber. So why I like the shield is because it's so thin that I put this in my waistband and nobody can even tell. I go for walks with it, and my dad can't even tell that I'm packing. And nowadays, especially when you become a public figure, there's all kinds of people who want to get close to you, and I just want to make sure that they know that I'm always protected.
They should get
Yeah, that's a
crazy.
nice rifle. Look at that. That's a nice rifle.
Oh, very nice. Very nice, sir.
That's you can't import these anymore. This is an Ishmash, which is the company that makes all the AKs, the top company. This is an Ishmash 308.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I got a SOCOM 16 I just got in 308. Love it.
I got an A10 that's a 308 with a 20 round clip.
A10s. A10 assault.
Oh yeah.
A10s are nice. A10s are nice guns. And the fun part about 308s is that when you go out to the range, if there's anybody else out there and they're close to you, they're not going to stay close to you very long.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I get that with my 7mm Weatherby Magnum. It's like the shock wave off of it. You know what else
Oh
used to
my
do
God.
that? You remember the Browning? Yeah, you remember the Browning Boss system that was on the Browning rifles? If you stood next to that Boss system, it would blow you away. But behind it, you were fine. So shooter was always good.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean that shockwave's enough that you can see it on the end. You can see through it. It looks like like heat wave.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. God. And you were talking about being safe. I don't know how many times I've been up in my tree stand and had squirrel hunters just walk by me.
Whizzing. Yep. Mike's got his. Nice, Mike. Look at that. Nice little.
That's my A10. It's got a bipod on it. It's got a rail system, 20 round clip. It's I like to shoot jackrabbits with it.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's heavy though. It's heavy. It's a very heavy gun.
Let's bring up a strange animal, jackrabbit. The first time I ever saw jackrabbits was in South Texas, and I was blown away. I couldn't believe that they had a dog-sized rabbit running around, because all we have around here are the common hare, nothing like that.
Well, the last thing I shot with that A10 was a jackrabbit.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I guess there wasn't much.
Left.
Nothing left. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Well, I shot it at about 200 yards, and
all right.
I don't know. I got pictures of it somewhere. I'll have to show you guys. It's a fun gun to shoot, but it's very heavy. So that is that's a rifle that I would not pack in the woods. I bet it weighs the A or the M. What is it? The M19. Am I getting it right? Weighs out at 12.9 pounds. Is it the M12 that I'm thinking, or M19? It's a very heavy gun. It weighs out at 12.9 pounds. This A10 that I have has got to be all day long 12 pounds. And I know a lot of, and I know a lot of people don't understand this, but when you're in the woods, you don't want to have to pack something that heavy. You know, you want something that's at least half that weight, 7 pounds maybe.
Yep.
I know my Weatherby 300 was probably about 7-8 pounds. It was still a pretty heavy gun. But that's something you don't want to just lug around in the woods all day long because it'll just plumb wear you out. So,
Okay,
yeah,
Mike, imagine being in the military and having 50 pounds of gear on and then carrying a saw all day.
I think we had Dreamweaver on one of my shows, and he said with his pack rifle and all of his gear, he was packing somewhere between 90 odd pounds besides his body weight. When he first went in the military, he said he weighed like a $125 or something.
Jesus.
So he wasn't maybe $145. I mean, he wasn't a big guy by any means, but he was almost packing his body weight around in the military. It's just a lot of weight. So I know Reaper will tell you he tries to pack very lightly when he's out in the woods, and so do I. I don't like a lot of weight.
Always light. Yep. And I don't know. Have you guys ever? Here's my bow, and this is I shoot all elite. But have you ever used one of these when you're carrying out in the woods? You can mount this to protect your cams. Okay, it slides down, comes around your cams. And then you can carry your bow like this out in the woods.
I've got one. The Prima just bought my
That's what this
woman.
Is. Yeah.
The Allen one.
This is the Primo, and I'll tell you what. When I'm like Reaper, I'm as light as possible. I carry all of my tree stands. I don't have any commercial tree stands. I welded about 50 tree stands back when I was in my 30s. They have chains going around them. I always put them where there's a limb coming around the backside of it, and I just stand on it. It's just an open stand. I have to climb into the tree. I've got green cord coming down to every one so I can pull my bow up. But when I go out, I'm as light as possible. I've got my bow. I've got maybe a little bit of lunch, and that's about it. Some water. Don't forget water, guys. When you're out in a tree stand, we're not out in a tree stand for an hour. We're out in a tree stand for 8 hours.
Yep.
And we're standing in one spot. It gets kind of, you get hungry.
A lot of people think that our generation come out with the light hunting stuff, but actually it was your generation with the lock-on tree stands that weighed 6 pounds. That stuff just faded out because that land was the thing to do, and everybody started buying metal tree stands and permanently placing them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still am uncomfortable with climbing up a ladder tree stand. To me, that's just not It's just not hunting to me, but that's just me. You know, it's kind of like the guys that hunt turkeys in a, you know, in a blind with easy chairs. That's just not hunting to me, you know. But there again, I've never got a turkey.
I know exactly what you meant. I personally Alps turkey list, and that's what I take. That's it. I mean, I don't have no chair, and I lean on the tree.
And I'll tell you what, you guys were talking about scent. I use the same soap that you use, but here in Iowa, we use a lot of red fox urine. And what I'll do is I'll take, like I said in the chat, I don't even wash my camos. You know, my camos are just for hunting. I put red fox urine on them, and then they go in a plastic bag. And then when I go out in the woods, I've got, you know, I'll wear my hunting boots and I'll just soak them with red fox urine. And then I start walking out in the woods. The idea behind that is animals know what other animals are doing. And red fox has a tendency to shy away from all humans. They don't like being around humans at all. So if a deer smells red fox, he thinks he's safe.
Gotcha.
And so he'll walk down a path, and you know, God, I've had bucks that have been, you know, upwind of me, just lay down and fall asleep.
Yeah.
You know, I
Me
mean,
too.
and you have to wait for them to get up. It's like
Me
you
too.
sit there and look at them because you want them to, you know, you want them to walk close, but hell, he's ready to take a nap. He's done every doe in the forest. Now he's ready to take a nap.
Yeah, here's talk about red fox. Here's so Brian sent this in to us this morning. There's a nice little red fox sitting there and a couple of does in the field there. So thanks, Brian Smith, for sending in those photos this morning.
How come my
Appreciate it.
volume's not very loud?
We can hear you. We can hear you, Dad. So we got Dad in here with us. So what'd you have to say, Dad? Hello. Patriot Rebel, we can hear you just fine.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Mike,
go ahead.
Does your dad live in the same town, Mike?
Yeah,
My
he lives about
volume's
2
messing
miles
up
from
on
me.
me. I can't hear you.
Well, we can hear you, so go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a comment about the reloading, and I used to I learned how to do some of that with my dad years ago, 55 plus years ago, and we used to do all that, and it was very interesting. I enjoyed doing it with him, and we loaded 308s, we loaded 3040 Craig, we loaded probably 3030s, maybe even 303 Savage. I can't remember for sure, but definitely enjoyed doing that. So I just thought I'd bring that in. I wish my dad's grandsons could have been able to learn to do that while he was still alive, because it definitely is an interesting hobby. Okay, I'm gonna back on out of here, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
All right, see you, Dad.
What's your
Thank
dad's
you.
name, Mike?
Gary.
Okay, Gary. So I learned how to reload from my grandfather, who was a hunter's hunter, fisherman's fisherman, and I'll bet you loaded on an old Herder's reloading equipment. Herder's back in the day, Herder's was like Sears. You know, if you wanted to buy something of good quality, you bought it from Sears. But if you wanted to buy something of good quality hunting, you bought it from Herder's.
Really?
Yep. Herder's sold everything. Herder's was like the Bass Pro Shop of its day.
Wow.
And it was a catalog.
Yeah. Everybody knows it. I'm pretty honest and open about my archery stuff. I love to deer hunt with a bow, but I started because of TSS, which is tungsten super shot. And if you buy a box of 5 of them, it's about $50. So I started learning how to do it on a 12 gauge, and it just kind of went from there. I'm sure you know
ask
about TS.
Yes, I had a buddy that he reloaded shot shell all the time, and he liked to shoot skeet. We used to hunt pheasant all the time, but he shot skeet, and he just, my God, I can't tell you how many. He was loading more shot shell than I was loading in cartridges. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Oh, skeet shooters, they don't mess around, man. They go through so many rounds. It's crazy. Let me ask you this question, Hawkeye. I really enjoy shooting MHR 17s. Is it worth the time and the money and the effort to reload small calibers like the 17 and the 22, or is it just cheaper just to go buy a brick a shot when you're dealing with that small a caliber?
You can't reload those. You can't reload those. Only center fire. Rimfire you can't. Rimfire you can't reload.
Okay.
And I haven't. I need to go out and buy some 22s because I've got a couple of 22s. I even have the. I've got a 1911, and then I've got a Kimber 22 barrel that fits on it. So I'll go out and shoot my 1911, but with the Kimber, with the whole Kimber top on it. And so I got to go out and buy some 22s. 22s are not cheap anymore. Not like they used to be.
Yeah.
Used to be able to buy a 500 brick for, $10. And now, God, it's probably 30 cents a shot.
Yeah, that's because it's such a good all around caliber, and it's easy to operate. And with things getting scary in America, I think a lot of people have been purchasing the ammo and the weapons that go with it, just so they have something in their house, and yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing for them to do.
I can see that. I've got a Marlin bolt action 22 Magnum, and that's probably my favorite gun to go out and shoot squirrels with, because it's just a nail driver. It's just right on. You can just hit a head from 50 yards away. Take them right out of the trees. But
that's how I learned a lot of my target shooting was here where I live in this small little town. We have an area called the Ridge, and it's just nothing but farm fields, alfalfa fields. And as a kid, me and my buddies after school would go grab a brick of 22s. We'd take our 22s out in the pickup truck, and we'd just shoot all day long. And then in the summertime was even worse because, after you hate all day long, there was nothing else to do. We just go grab a couple of bricks of 22 shot, and we just head out to the Ridge, and we put a herding on those. And that was late 80s, early 90s, before all these fancy 22s came out with the pistol grips and the high powered scopes. This was all just open shot, or open sight. And we just slayed those things out there. And we used to get 10 cents a tail for those ground squirrels. And then right when I was getting ready to graduate high school, my buddies started paying, $300-400 for these expensive 22 rifles with pistol grips and these high powered varmint scopes on them, man. And they just go out there and they just have at it. And it wasn't, after a while, it wasn't even fun anymore.
Well, I don't know. Were you in Scouts at all?
Boy Scouts?
In Boy Scouts, I remember when we were out at one of the Jamboree campouts, getting my merit badge. I got I got the rifleman merit badge and the yeoman bow merit badge on the same camp out. God, that was a blast. Those were the days. That was back in the 60s though. So
Yeah.
Back in the, and don't ever discount iron sights, man. I've got a couple of guns that I don't even have a scope on it because the iron sights are just right on,
Yeah. My dad taught me when we first started using the scopes, we tried to put the scope up high enough to where you still had the open sight sight below, because sometimes you'll get in a situation in foggy weather where your scope, I know Leopold makes a non-fog scope that's about $400. I had one on my 300, but still, you never know. You drop your gun, kind of knock your scope off. Those open sights are pretty important. And I think a lot of people nowadays don't truly use the open sight. They're so used to having to have a scope all the time, they wouldn't even know where to begin with an open sight. And those open sights, man, that's all we used to use. And we used to be pretty damn good at it too.
Well, and you get some of those cheap scopes. If you just knock them a little bit, they go all out of whack.
Yep.
You have to spend some money on a scope to really get it, get something that's decent.
Yep. And that can cost you. Most of the scopes that I put on my rifles are right around $400. I used to be a real big Leopold, and then I switched from Leopold to Cabela's brand because it was basically the same scope. But what I loved about Cabela brand was if I had a problem with the scope, I'd just take it off the rifle, go into any Cabela's, and they'd swap me out. Leopold, I'd have to take it off the rifle, box it up, ship it off to Leopold. They'd fix it, then they'd box it back up and ship it back to me. And depending on what time of year it was, I may not have had all that time to wait for my scope to get back to me. So I went to Cabela's because I could just walk into any Cabela's and swap scope or trade for same price or pay up or whatever. And I got the scope same day. So I went to Cabela's brand for my opticals, and then I did the same thing with my field glasses too. I carry Cabela's, and they are some amazing optics. And
they are.
And if I have a problem with them, I just take them right in there and swap them out because they had a lifetime warranty on it. And that's the other reason why I really liked them. It was a lifetime warranty. So I felt like I got my money's worth.
Yeah. I got to knock on wood. I got Leopold and never had a problem with them. So, I haven't had to send anything back, but I can imagine. But that, I was just reading the other day, I shoot Elite bows, and Elite, the guy that did all the design.
Hello.
Hold on a second. Yeah.
Duty calls. Well, I don't know. We covered a lot of ground today, Reaper. A lot of ground today. We lost Craig because his internet went down, and then his internet went down on his phone. So we lost Craig, but he was with us for as long as he could. So just so everybody knows, that's what happened to Craig.
Okay, so I used to shoot for PSE. They just bought my bows and stuff, and I shot competitions. And then the guy that made Matthews bows, the engineer, started with Elite, and so I went to Elite, and Elite had at the time it had a lifetime warranty that was transferable, so I could sell my Elite bow to you, and you'd have a lifetime warranty. Now Elite has changed it, to you have to be the original owner. But Elite has a deal that if you're out on a hunt, they will overnight you a bow.
Wow.
So if something happens with your bow, they'll overnight you a bow, and you just have to return it in good condition. So not that that's ever been I've never had a problem with, the problems I have is always off season. So I make sure my bow's tuned up for hunting season. But I'll tell you, I shot a lot of competition, and my hunting bow, I've got an Elite Hunter, and it's a little bit faster, but it's a lot lighter and it's a little bit shorter. And I only get it out, when I hunt. So I shoot my Elite Answer quite a bit through the year, but then I bring out my hunting bow. That bow sat for a year. So you have to make sure that when you get out, make sure you understand compound bows or recurves or whatever. Make sure that you look at your equipment, because the last thing you want to do is have your equipment fail as you're drawing it, as you're shooting it, when you're walking out into the woods. That's the last thing you want,
I want to ask both of you. I want to ask both of you a question because I don't know the answer. It's kind of like, to me, bow hunting could be a little bit like golfing, where you get some of us with big gorilla arms on us, and when you have golf clubs made for you, they go with your swing and your arm length and all this. So when you guys, and again, I don't know, that's why I'm asking the question. When you guys go to purchase arrows, and you go to a store and they get your pull and all this,
it's called a draw length.
Yeah. Do you guys, do they make different lengths of arrows because of how far back you pull and all that? Is that something that, as I get into bow hunting, that I need to be cautious of to make sure that I have the right size arrow for my draw and all that kind of thing?
Actually, your rest. I shoot a 30-inch draw, and my rest is clear back here. Okay, and this rest comes down as I draw. This pulls that down. Okay. And I make all my own arrows. I fletch all my own arrows. But when you go into a shop, it's almost best, if you're new at it, just take your bow in, because they'll be able to measure it off your bow. You don't want to just tell them you got a 30-inch draw, because like on mine, 30-inch draw wouldn't mean anything, because my rest is so far back that I can shoot shorter arrows.
Gotcha.
I also don't want my broadhead, when you're pulling back, your hand is right by where that broadhead's coming through. I don't want that broadhead being, they're razor blades. I don't want to be in anywhere close to my hand. And when I shoot, my hand comes out like this. So, I don't grip. I pull it out like this because I want everything. I want that bow to be, I'm in like this. There's a strap, but I come out like this. So when I'm pulling back, my arm looks like that.
Gotcha.
And
what about you?
I don't want that broadhead anywhere close to my finger.
What about you, Reaper? What's your draw, and what's your thought on all that?
I'm a 27.5, and I cut my own arrows, and I like mine to be maybe an inch past my wrist, so they even up with the riser shelf. And he's shooting a drop away cable driven. I shoot a drop away limb driven, because if it breaks, I can fix it right there. No problem.
Man, how do you cut your arrows? How do you cut your arrows? And then Hawkeye says he makes all of his own stuff. That would be a really neat video to show people, making your own arrow and stuff. I just find it fascinating.
What he means by making his own arrow is he's cutting them as well, like I do, and he's putting fletch on them like I do. You cut your own arrows. The carbon is what you buy, and then you typically fletch them. And
but what do you cut them with? What do you cut?
I use a Dremel.
Yeah, different.
I use a Dremel, with a cutoff blade on it. And then I just slide them in. You see the stop here. That stop is measured with the nocks. Okay. I've got it marked right here. I measure them with the nocks. And then then you have to put an insert in. That insert's pretty standard. That insert goes in with hot melt glue. You can use hot melt glue on them. You clean off the hot melt glue, and then here's how I fletch them.
That's
this.
It's a Benson burger.
That's exactly right. That goes in, puts them at the right angle. I've got it marked here, so I know exactly how far back I'm going to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I put my fletchings on. And I don't use feather fletchings anymore because I hunt a lot when it's raining. So I use the plastic fletchings on it, the veins.
See, what people don't realize is this is such a science to everything that we do, whether you're an archery that just shoots for fun or practice or competition, or if you archery hunt for sport or for food, whether you use a rifle or a pistol for practice or for competition or sport or hunting for food, it's all a science. It's not. A lot of these people think it's just weekend warriors to just go out and just shoot everything in sight. Again, it is so much more than that when you really dive deep into it. And I appreciate you, Brock, and I appreciate you, Hawkeye, showing us your guys' lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's.
I use those Thunderhead broadheads. I like those. I used to use Zwickies all the time. Those are nice. But, like Reaper was saying, it takes time. You go out and buy a bunch of shafts, and then, oh, God, yes. Yep. Those are nice
it's
as
a Magnus Stinger B.
Yep. But you get, it takes a lot of time to cut your arrows and fletch them and then go out and shoot them, and but it's a blast. I mean, you don't have to. All you got to do is just order a bunch of vanes and some carbon. You can buy the carbon arrows. A carbon arrow will cost you. I haven't even priced them lately. A finished one. Are they $10 a piece?
It really depends on what kind you buy. I mean, that just as well as I do.
Fine, yeah, but even cheap ones, you got, I mean, I don't do it because of the cost. I do it because it's just to me, it's just part of the hunt,
That's what it is for us. We get obsessed with this stuff. It's not like
you're right, man. You're right.
It's Mike's laughing, but it's really no joke. We sit and we spend hours.
Well, I laugh. I laugh because Brock and Hawkeye here, listen, your wives, your girlfriends, whatever, would probably much rather have you obsess over bow hunting and reloading than being an alcoholic or a drug user and an abuser. I'm sorry, but you guys are men. You guys are man's men, and there's women out there that are just addicted to this stuff as the men are. And I'm sorry, but that is a better way to spend your life than at the bottom of a bottle or, a line on a mirror or, beating your dog and kicking your wife or whatever. So, it is a lifestyle, and in my opinion, it's a healthy lifestyle.
Well, I got a guy at our local. We've got a sporting goods store. It's Fin and Feather, and we have indoor shoots and that type of stuff all the time. And back about 20 years ago, now Reaper and I, this is kind of life. I mean, this guy even took it to the next level, and he started buying birch shafts, and he started making wood shaft arrows for his recurve, and he wanted to go out elk hunting, and he wanted to take an elk with one of his wood shaft arrows. It's just, and to me, he's buying 100 shafts, and he might get 5 that are good. He might get 5 that pass straightness tests that he can shoot, or strength. And, you got to check the spine and everything on it. But, so you can even take it past where we are,
Yeah.
Guys making their own bows.
Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff, man. Really.
It's fun, man. I mean, even if you just do it for a hobby, go out and buy yourself a cheap recurve, or even a, bottom of the line. I mean, I started my son with a used Bear recurve, and he got really good with it. And then we started working up, and you can buy a good 45-pound Bear recurve. Well, they're antiques now, so they're expensive as shit. But back in the day, I could buy one for $50 with arrows, and you could hunt all day with that.
Yeah, and
so
today
you don't have to spend a shitload of money.
Yeah, most of today's all great anyway.
Every one of them. Yeah.
That's what I meant when I said earlier. Well, I'm not going to put in this time to destroy the woods, because I put in a lot of stuff. It's intricate putting those arrows together. That's not even talking about tuning your bow and having your own bow press so you can tune it yourself. Equipment on. I mean, we live this. This is a 24/7, 375 day a year job. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. And Mike was talking about golf. I have so much time in my arrows that, if you're a golfer and you lose a ball, you might spend a couple minutes looking for it. I'm looking for mine till I find it, because I don't want to lose it. That's been a good arrow. And arrows like to get up underneath grass.
Oh,
so you got to kick around sometimes to find them,
Yeah, and
hey, man, the world needs more of this. The world needs more of hunting and fishing and archery, and a lot less of watching CNN and all this nonsense that's on TV.
Get off of this thing.
Yeah, get off the phone and get out in the woods. And the world needs a lot more of this and a lot less of people working their fingers to the bones with all this overtime and weekends and holidays just to try to make a buck. Get out there and enjoy the woods and learn from somebody like you two, like I am right now. Every Saturday, I learn something new from you guys, and I appreciate that. And as I learn, I'm going to pass that down to Noah and my 2 girls, and try to teach them what I learned from you guys and what I've learned from my dad, my grandfather, and my brothers, and the buddies that I hunt with here in this small town. So we need a lot more of this, folks. A lot more of this.
Yeah, guys like me and Hawkeye, we don't have time to be addicted to anything else. This is our drug. It's life. I spend more time with my bow and arrow than I do my old lady, because it's something I got to work at. I mean, come on. He knows I'm telling the truth. Look at him putting his head down.
I know. I mean, I don't, unless I got a family member that is, dying, that opening day, that opening week, you won't see me.
Yeah, most of us will number our arrows. Like number 1 is the best. Number 2 is second best.
I can see that. I can see that. And then, you know what? I've seen a lot of couples around here in my area that hunt together, whether it's rifle or bow or both. And I'm looking for that special somebody in my life that I can share this stuff with too, to get into bow hunting with me or rifle hunting and fishing. I think that you both can enjoy it together as a couple. And some of us are getting to that age now where we'll be empty nesters here before too long. So, being able to share that with your significant other and go out in the woods together and do that when your kids are all grown up and off to college or have their own families. And then grandchildren, I'd like to start teaching my grandchildren this stuff. It's just a family affair that you can make that something that is just in their DNA,
Well, you find a happy medium. I was married before, and my ex-wife used to love to sunbathe. I used to love to fish. So we'd go out on a lakefront. She'd bring a towel, and I'd bring my fishing pole. I'd fish all day. She'd be sunbathing all day. We'd be sitting there to each other, and it made a great day of it.
I'm very fortunate that Betty, my woman, she does hunt with me. She shoots bow with me. But
that's cool.
She can't hang with me though. I mean, she's not going to do it like I do it, but tries to do it, and that's fun in itself. And something we enjoy to do together. Even though she might not shoot at an animal with a bow, she still shoots with me.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It's even though I hunt a lot by myself, I hunt a lot with a partner, with one of my best friends. We might be 3/4 a mile apart in trees, but we still will walk out the woods together, or we'll camp the night before together, or whatever. And that the camaraderie. I'll tell you, the camaraderie around hunting. I could go over to Reaper's house today, and I'll bet we could have a blast together.
Absolutely.
Knowing nothing but just talking bows, or just shooting bows,
or telling stories, or telling hunting stories.
My
God. The hunting stories around the campfire at night are something that I miss doing and miss hearing. And same with fishing stories around the campfire at night. I miss my grandfather used to carry a 1-gallon Ziploc baggie full of Polaroids of every fish that he'd ever caught, with the date on the back, who was with him, and he'd pull that bag out, and you'd be there for 2 hours. He'd tell you every story of every photo. And I miss those days. I miss hearing those stories, and he could tell you what the bait was, what the weather was that day, who was with him. The camaraderie, Hawkeye, is a brotherhood and a sisterhood and a familyhood that I think nowadays we miss that in our world. We really do. We miss it in our world.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Yeah. Although, my son was really into video games and stuff. And then when I got him into archery, see you later, honey. Yep, I got it. We own a restaurant, a very large restaurant. And we're so busy tonight. I've got software that takes reservations, and we're so busy tonight. She told me I got to turn the reservations off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
hey, Craig the Hunter, we're glad to have you back, brother.
Hey, I'm here while I'm here, so soak it up. I don't know what's going on. Storm recovery.
I think we're about ready to land the plane. We're a little over 2 hours, and it's been a great 2 hours. I've learned a lot from Hawkeye and from Reaper and from you, Craig. So anything you want to add? since you've kind of been in and out?
Well, no, I just say great show, everybody. And look, love hearing from Hawkeye. I mean, incredible. And I hope you call in more. I'd love to talk more. For sure.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Craig, I think I texted you a couple times in a couple of chats. My daughter lives in Lafayette.
Oh, well, you're not far. Yeah, it's only 2 hours away from where I'm at. So not far at all.
So
I used to go to Broussard, as a matter of fact, for fire safety training for the offshore industry. And but I grew up basically hanging around a drill yard in New Iberia.
So
which
I
is right
want to know,
there.
do you guys hunt alligators?
I got a buddy who does. He has tags. Like I said, he tagged out 72 gators in 2 days.
Wow. I had some alligator jumbo that was just gumbo.
Gumbo, yes.
That was just friggin' phenomenal. They made it at our restaurant for I don't even remember what the day was, but oh my God!
All I gotta send you is the I could send you the alligator sausage. That's the key.
That sounds good too.
Yeah. You'll love it.
All of us here online, Mike, you got some incredible animals up in your area to hunt. Reaper down in Tennessee, same deal. Here in Iowa, it's pheasant, it's whitetail, and down in Florida, Louisiana, get down on the coast, you got gators, we all got different animals to hunt. I would love to go, I'd love to go to Idaho sometime. I've heard stories about, the mountain goats and mountain sheep and stuff. That to me, that'd be just cool as shit.
Well, we'll plan a trip together. I'll have you and Craig and Reaper come out, and we'll do a special hunt. The oddest thing that I've ever ate, the oddest, and it's not gator, it's not snail, it's not anything from Craig's neck of the woods. It's actually from my neck of the woods. is mountain lion. We have a wild game feed here in the springtime. Yeah. And somebody had brought some mountain lion that they had shot and they cooked. And, man, it was really – you just kind of look at it and you think mentally, this is a predator. This is something that could eat me. It's kind of like a bear, right? But a cat just didn't seem like something I should be eating. And I tried it, and it really was not bad at all. I don't even know what kind of taste I could describe it as. It didn't taste like chicken. It just tasted like meat, and it was
a cat. It's like a cat.
Yeah, it was just kind of different for me. Different for me, anyway.
Julia Child.
Well, I can't imagine being in Idaho and having a black bear come up on me.
I've had them circle around me as I'm, nature calls type of thing, and I'm squatted down. And my brother and I had just crossed paths with one, and that thing had circled around behind me and started coming up behind me as I was taking care of business. And I had my rifle to the tree next to me there, and I couldn't grab that thing fast enough. I never saw the bear, but I could hear him coming up behind me, and they're curious animals.
Yeah. How big are they?
We could get some good black bears around here, anywhere from 225 pounds all the way up to 400 pounds, probably, maybe a little bit more. And here in Idaho, Hawkeye, like I was saying earlier on the show, where I live here in Idaho is probably one of the best black bear hunting areas in the state. So if you ever want to come out and go black bear hunting in the spring or something with your bow, you and Reaper, Craig, come on out. And we can definitely go black bear hunting.
Have you ever
Hawkeye,
hunted?
you're always welcome down here too.
I have never hunted black bear in season or with dogs, but I run into them all the time. All the time.
And so they do use dogs?
Oh, absolutely, out here. Yeah, I got friends right here. I got friends right here in town that have dogs. Several of my friends have dogs here in town. So we could definitely schedule something. I could go schedule something with them, and like I said, we'd have to start planning soon so that you could put in for your tag. You got to put in for your tag, and then we could schedule something with one of my buddies and come out this spring and go bear hunting. It's a lot of fun.
I'm afraid I'd get bear fever. If I was going to draw on a bear, I'd be like, Jesus. If any shot counted, it's got to be this one.
Yeah,
you don't want a wounded bear.
A lot of my buddies hunt bears with bows.
Yeah,
and then we pack a sidearm just in case.
Yeah. Are you allowed to pack a sidearm?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
As far as I know, you are.
See, we hunt raccoons with dogs here. We chase them up into a tree and then knock them out.
Yeah, same here. Yep, do that here.
I like bear sausage. Bear sausage is really good. I enjoy bear sausage. The bear meat is real greasy because they're so fat.
Yeah.
But they make some really good summer sausage.
Raccoon has a nasty aftertaste, but you cook it traditionally with dirty rice and yams.
No, it does. It does. Yeah.
It's like nutria.
We have those wild game dinners here too, and bear was always. I always liked the taste of bear.
They even said a bear.
Buffalo is really good.
Yeah, I like buffalo. Well, it sounds like
bear
we need to have.
Go ahead.
Sounds like we all, the four of us, need to have an off-air conversation, and we could start making some plans on some of these hunts. I'd love to have you guys come out to Idaho. I'd love to come out to Tennessee and Louisiana and go hunting with you guys too and fishing. I'd love to go on a bear hunt with you guys. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I might have to get my Depends ready for that.
Oh, the dogs do all the work, man. They put them up in the tree for you. All you got to do is
really
just take care.
You have to tree them first.
Oh, they tree the bears around here. Yeah.
Really? I'll be damned. Huh? I wasn't aware of that.
Well, gentlemen, I'm gonna have to get off here and get back to business with the family. Any final thoughts?
How's your mom doing?
She was doing better this morning when I called her right before the show. I'm gonna go check on her. She was doing better yesterday evening. She came. We got her outside so she'd get some fresh air. So I'm gonna go check up on her, make sure she's doing okay.
Tell her we love her, Mike, for sure.
Will do.
Our love on.
As long as she's doing well and she's got lots of energy, I'll be on the show tonight. If not, then I'm gonna spend some time with her, and Shane will do things for me again tonight. So,
well, it was great talking to all you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have an off-air conversation. We got to start planning some of these trips, Reaper. We talk about it. Man, we need to just start writing some stuff down on the calendar and really moving forward on it, because I plan on doing a lot of video recording on all this stuff. It makes for some really good shows in the future.
Wait, here's my plan. You're welcome here anytime during October through January 31st. So just whenever. Come on down.
Sounds good.
Reaper, do you use trail cams?
Yes, I do. I set them out. I put them midsummer and watch the deer grow, and usually leave them out to the following year.
I've never used them. I was just curious. I see guys.
Yeah, I use them
all the time with them.
Yeah, I only use them off season. I don't like them during season. I do better without, I think.
Well, gentlemen, it was a pleasure spending Saturday morning and early afternoon for some of you. Thanks to all you guys who joined us this morning for episode 14. And, we'll be back next Saturday at same time, same channel. Looking forward to the special guest we'll have next week and see what they have to say. I know we kind of just talked about hunting today. We didn't get to any of the fishing, but that's okay. I think some of the stuff that we were talking about was pretty important to talk about anyway and get out there. So really appreciate you guys being part of it. And our neck of the woods, special thanks to Bonnie for helping with the barbecue. Appreciate your help there, Bonnie. Gentlemen, you ready to get out of here? Anything you
Yes,
guys want to
sir.
say before we leave?
Love y'all.
Love y'all. Keep hunting.
Keep hunting, keep fishing.
Get out in the woods and do something.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you guys have a great Saturday and a great weekend, and we'll talk to you here real soon.
See you later,
Later,
Mike.
y'all. Have a
All
great
right,
one,
see ya.
y'all.
You too.